Hello, hello! Welcome to another day of Ether. We're taking on a Japanese player here. I'm just going to throw Ike at it. This is probably like my highest scoring setup for light season, if at all possible. I don't have Asker is the unit I have in light season with the most merges. Strangely, I don't know how that happened. He just popped up. But yeah, this is the most I can score. And this one, I was considering using my new Gale Force team that I was building, but it doesn't look like... I don't think I'd... The trap placements, man. The trap placements really make it difficult to Gale Force, because the thing is, I can't go in and initiate on the trap and then get out, because if that trap is real, I am stuck, and I've already lost from melee range. If I'm trying to... If it's from 2 range, from like a range nuke, it's a lot easier to get in and get out. But from melee range, I'd have to test both of these traps before I can get in or get started with a Gale Force play, and that's 2 turns wasted.
Let's rumble.
Unless I want to like go up one of the sides and, you know, knock them out that way, but that's a lot more work. It's pretty much the same 2 turns, because you're going to take a while to break all those structures. So I decided just to go ahead and try to Ike this. The units here that would probably take out Ike are, you know, Duo Egrin. That's what she's here for. And also Citrine here with an AoE build as well. Kram is also here to potentially try to take out Ike as well, but it's really down to probably Egrin and Citrine, who have the bulk of that work there. But Ike here will be fine, because they won't be able to get triangle attack if I bait from right here. So. This is the maximum range of the team. Citrine will spread the +1 movement and all the buffs from Egrin to the left side, and then she'll spread the dual strike to the right side. So this is the setup. Even though we're going to get hit with undefended, it doesn't matter, because Ike doesn't need it. We're going to lock Egrin, so it forces the dance from Azura. And yeah, wow, this should be good to go. I could have done this from with my Golvig team, but kind of felt like a waste in terms of using the team so early on in the week. I want to show off that team against a stronger map, so... Yeah, this is Ike all day. I was contemplating building a team with Altina, but Altina isn't doing very. She's just not Ike, unfortunately. Which is, I feel like Ike as an Omni tank makes every other Omni tank feel useless, and I don't like that.
Leave this to me.
Not a bad hit, but ultimately 0 turns into 64, because math, and yeah, we get the kill there. But yeah, I feel like Ike just really, again, displaying how he makes every other Omni tank just absolutely inferior. There's S tier, and then there's S plus tier, and I think Ike is like SSS, like triple S tier, and then there's a big gap between him and everyone else. It's crazy how strong this unit is, and I don't see anyone surpassing him for a while in terms of just being an Omni tank. So yeah, I didn't bother to use the Altina team, or I didn't even bother to bring the Altina team. It felt pointless. I was setting up a team with him and Edward, but it wouldn't have worked here because of Embla. I'm probably just gonna fodder Edward to him eventually. I'll see when I do that. I'm just not ready. But I'm probably going to at some point. But yeah. Ooh. The state of the game, man. The state of the game. Dagger beam bonuses has been really fun so far. Although it is difficult when you come across low-key teams, because she kind of shuts down some of the stuff that... because Dagger ends up with at least 3 status effects on this team, depending on how I set it up. So luckily Pathfinder is just in her weapon, it's not a status effect, but it can affect Peony, and that is who I've partnered her with, so it makes sense naturally because they're in the same season. So if I use one, and I'm always using Peony, so it just makes sense. So yeah, that's the team setup here. We should be good to go here once Winter Cordelia gets baited, we'll go get the pots and then wrap up the match from there. It's been a pretty smooth sailing. Aside from this, I've been testing out Duo Golveg, and she has been fantastic. Terrible against anything that pierces her DR, but everything else she pretty much blows up if she can get the one shot. Winter, Byleth, Myr, she loses hard to both of them, especially Byleth. Byleth absolutely destroys her. She can probably live against Myr if you set it up right, but Byleth just wrecks her, like, absolutely. But everything else she does okay. So you probably don't want her as your primary nuke. You probably want like a really powerful initiator, and then you can send her in for follow-up, which is probably what I'll show off if I'm able to at some point use the team this week. And I think it'll be around a lot longer than just this week. I'm going to be using that Duo Golveg quite a bit. The 4 actions is just undeniable. You can't ignore that. I love the fact that she doesn't kill the strongest Farseers in the game, because there needs to be some counterplay to her. I like the fact that they act as a deterrent. I don't know what that will mean for her bonus season though, because she will hit a lot harder there. So I don't know, we could be in for a tough time there, but as long as you have a far save in Winter Byleth and Valentine's Myr, you should be okay. If you can like block it up so that you get Aegis set up so that it loops properly, you should be good there, but you're probably going to take a big amount of damage, a lot of damage, and you won't get the kill. You really want to kill her. You don't want her attacking you again and again. So yeah, looking forward to her bonus season. It's probably going to be a ton of fun. This one wraps it up again. Baby Golveg, showing why she is still OP. That's it, man. GG's. Welcome to another day of Ether Raids. We're taking on Biscuit 7 here, and we're going to use a team here that I've been working on. It's a full Gale Force team, but I feel it's a bit incomplete. It's lacking a couple of pieces. There's some adjustments that need to be made, so I'm just trying to figure it out. So I feel like this is probably the best opportunity that I'm going to get this season to test it out. So yeah, we're going to do just that. I feel like there's probably too much red here. Also, I feel like I need a better mixture of colors, or maybe even a range unit. I don't know, but we're going to give it a swing and see how it works out with Asker and the Beast Mode seal. So we're going to see how that works. Yeah, let's get to it. Biscuit 7, is that One Piece, right? I'm pretty sure that's One Piece. It sounds familiar. Yeah, so this is the enemy team. We should be good to go if... Only Felix looks like he has guard, so should be alright. I was testing, I've been testing this team a lot, and one of the problems that I've been finding with melee Gale Force in Light and Dark Season is everyone is running a Cav line or a Flyer line, or they're using either Spring Breeze or the Mountain Terrain map, and both of those make it kind of cumbersome or difficult to use a Gale Force strategy or use melee Gale Force, primarily because of the terrain. Most of the melee units that you're going to be using are either Cavs or infantry. Especially for the mountain map, you probably want Gale Force Flyers, which there aren't that many who fit that mold, and also they wouldn't have the range to necessarily get in there that easily. You'd probably have to smite or something, which is why I went with well, most of the times you're going to see Cavs or infantries or something of that sort, or there's going to be some type of warp to help you get in. But for this setup that I have here, I've really been wanting to use my Brave Alm, because he has Wind Sweep against Brave Edelgard. He is dragon effective, which is one of the other unit types that you're going to come across when it relates to near saves, unless it's like a beast, but he probably one sweep for Mortis as well. So he covers a lot of bases. The problem is this kit that you see here is pretty much incomplete. I'm thinking that he needs
What's next?
infantry pulse 4
Together.
just so that he can help out. Oh my god. So this is the problem here. The units are too strong. Because I've selected the units to take out near saves, and because of how strong near saves are, most of the time if the front line isn't a near save or just a regular infantry or a mage, I'm probably going to one-shot. So the problem that I'm facing here is that, as you can see, none of these units are set up to have a one-tap Gale Force, which is why I was saying I probably need Infantry Pulse 4. I could probably change his A skill to the flashing, just so I can get an extra charge on him, to make the Gale Force down to probably 2 or 1 cooldown. And then he could have a pre-charged Gale Force. That's the thing. And then Asker could also, yeah. But then there really isn't much that I could do about Triandra here, because she has to run Heavy Blade because she's a flyer. And there's no way for her to get special acceleration
As ordered.
Without the Heavy Blade. And also,
What's next?
I don't want. Well, I can't really change her A skill so that I could give her like Quick Impulse or anything. There's no way for her to get extra cooldown. So aside from the 3 there, yeah.
I see.
And I actually just really want to use Triandra. I mean, I could probably use my Fina, who I've been building up quite a bit. Fina, I think she's at like +6. I just have to give her the fodder. Which is the problem, I don't have the fodder. I need Infantry Pulse 4, which I can get from the codes,
I'm on it.
but I don't have any toilet papers to get it
Together.
just yet. And I need Flashing Blade for I don't know if I'd rather have that or the Clash, because he gets so much stats from the Clash that it really just works out in his favor. But then also, I'm contemplating whether or not I should give him tempo. That way, he is guaranteed. I don't have to give him the.
If you say so.
But then also, I could give him, because I still have an extra copy of the Wings of Mercy X skill. I still have another copy of that, so that I could give it to him. And he could run that pretty fine.
Ready.
And then his B slot would be free to run tempo. Which would remove any concern about guard. And I could give him. There's a lot of build options that I have with this Brave Alm.
I agree.
I just don't know which one to commit to, or maybe I don't need to commit to one. I could just run it depending on the season. I don't know, but I have a lot of ideas for my Brave Alm. He's one of my favorite units in the game, and he's highly invested. So I figured I should probably like get some use out of him somehow. And that's really what I'm trying to do here. Now, the problem is that I've stepped on the bull trap, and I don't know what I'm doing. I typically want to hit and run. I don't usually go in and Gale Force. Is because, all the way, and that's what this is. This is a full Gale Force team. The problem is also that Seliph does not have Heavy Blade or any way to get around guard, so yeah, I don't know. He might not get the Gale Force off. I hope he gets some type of tempo effect or something in his weapon from his Refine, just to make him a little bit better at Gale Forcing. It doesn't need to be tempo, or I don't know. He needs something just like kind of what Brave Crom has, but I guess they made him specifically that way so that you would have some differences between the two. So I don't know what they'll do in that regards, but that's the one thing that he's missing. So I don't mind like running Heavy Blade on him. That's not a problem. It's just,
of course,
I'd rather not. And he gets so many stats out of the Clash. yeah,
Together.
yeah, it's a lot to think about with Selith, but I think that will be his best position once
What's
he gets
next?
his refine, because he pretty much just claps Brave Edelgard's cheeks. Like, he claps her so hard. Even with all of her stuff, the only problem is that she has the guard,
I'm on it.
and he just can't get around that. And most save units are gonna have guard, and also in
course.
like in Ike, he doesn't do very well
What's
against
next?
Ike. I could probably pull on the banner and get the B skill, the full guard skill, just to help him out that way. But I don't know if I want to waste the orbs just to do
As
that.
ordered.
So yeah, there's that. So yeah, I feel like the team is incomplete because Dagger isn't really doing anything aside from pathfindering, and then Peony also. Well, Peony's Peony. I need Peony. She needs to be here. But I guess the Dagger slot could be a little bit more
Of
flexible.
course.
So I could have someone else there. But for now, this is how the team is set up. Felix has guard, so I can't attack into him.
I agree.
And then one other concern that I've been facing is that
I see.
a lot of people have been putting, well, obviously, a lot of people have Brave Ike on their defense, and he's a big
The unknown
counter
beckons.
to Gale Force strategies. The only thing that would range Gale Force you're fine, but for melee Gale Force in specific, it's very difficult to take him out.
I agree.
Especially if you're running a unit that actually uses Gale Force. He probably won't die, which is a problem because you need the unit to die if you're going to Gale Force successfully. So I don't know. It puts melee Gale Force in a bad space. Ultimately, is what it does.
As ordered.
So yeah, it's a lot to think about. Those are really some of the reasons that I just haven't been able to use melee Gale Force in light dark season because trap
see.
placements, the terrain that everyone's using, the cav line, flyer line, and then Ike. And also, well, yeah, mainly those three
see.
things. And it really just makes it difficult for you to initiate
The unknown
successfully
beckons.
into teams like that. Because primarily, especially for traps, you probably want someone with disarm
Together.
trap to go in, hit, and then cancel out, so that that space will be free so that you can go ahead and initiate on that space. But there aren't, melee units don't get disarm trap. You have to run a ranged unit for that, and then a ranged unit would have to then take out the far save, but you don't. Whoa, accidentally paused my recording there. Yeah, I was saying you don't really need to take out the far save if you're trying to Gale Force from melee range. If you're taking on melee range Gale Force, you want to take out the near save. So it's a conundrum that Gale Force's, like melee Gale Force currently has. While
where?
Brave Alm can take out Winter Byleth, I don't want to take out Winter Byleth. I want to take out the near save if there is one. So it's hard to then set up a team like that and then depend on it because of how the meta currently is.
Ready.
The meta is really strong, or the meta really favors
I agree.
ranged Gale Force currently.
Which path to
Like,
take?
I have the Golvig team, and it does fantastic against pretty
Of
much
course.
everything.
I'm on
The only thing I probably want to put on it is like Smite, just so I can get like the terrain for that one map, the flyer map. But
I
it
agree.
does fantastic against everything else. So
Together.
range Gale Force is very, very strong. But what does that mean for melee range, you know? And also that kind of just means that the far saves aren't strong enough, which is crazy to think about. Like we have some pretty strong far saves in the game
What's
currently,
next?
so it's crazy to think that.
The unknown.
But yeah, those are just some thoughts that I have. I really don't know what direction to go in with this team, or if it even makes sense to continue with this team, because I don't see the meta changing anytime soon. Cav lines are just so dominant right now. I don't see anyone running anything else for a while, and it's very difficult to initiate on those Cav line maps because it takes up so much of your actions. But GG's. See you in the next one.